Nice.
Let's see if it works.
Okay. So
Hey,
you are now
there we
able
go.
to, we're recording.
We are
Hey,
currently recording,
excellent.
yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. Right, away we go then. Well, hello everyone and welcome to Liberal Arts Keele. I'm joined today by several students who represent all the years of the Liberal Arts programme, and they're going to be talking about their experience of liberal arts here at Keele. So I'm going to start by asking Ellen and Emma, who are first year students or students who've just completed the first year, just to talk about, first of all, why you chose liberal arts at Keele and how's it been? What have been the highlights of the year, and what kinds of things have you enjoyed, surprises, challenges, that kind of thing? So over to Ellen and Emma.
You're muted currently.
Yeah. Ellen, you're muted.
Sorry, I thought I unmuted myself. I thought it was really interesting on our core module, Understanding the World Through Liberal Arts, that we moved through so many topics really quickly, but they all seem to be connected in some way. And like as you went through the semester, you built up and slowly could connect more and more ideas together, which was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. I really like the freedom at Keele with the being able to pick different modules. So when we came together with our core module, we all had different opinions and different experiences, and it was really nice to work through these new topics together with different perspectives. Mm-hmm.
Could you say a little bit about the Living Labs field trip that we had?
Yeah, we went to Wedgwood, and we also went to, what was it called, Itoria. We went there as well, and that was where we went around the canal bit, which we learnt about the different types of pottery in the bone china and how different bones create different colours and things, which I thought was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was really nice hearing about local history and how Wedgwood had changed the local area from people who worked there all their life, and it gave us like a new perspective on the topics we were studying.
And can you say a little bit perhaps about your option choices? Because it's quite broad, isn't it? There's quite a range of things that you can choose from. So
yeah. In my first semester, I took 2 languages. I did sign language and Chinese. I stopped doing Chinese because that was too hard. But then because there's such a broad choice to choose from, I was able to swap from Chinese to photography for semester 2, which obviously is quite a drastic change. And there was absolutely tons of different options, which I'm sure Emma can tell you she took very different ones to me.
Yeah, there were so many options to choose from, and I like that because I have a lot of different interests, and so I like to be able to read through the options and pick the one that suited me the best. I chose some criminology modules in my first semester, and they were very interesting, but it was quite challenging because I'd never done criminology before. But I like that about the course. I like that you get to study things you've never done before rather than come to university and get put on a strict path. I like that I can change my interests. Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. Well, at this point, shall we bring in Thomas, who is it's going to be a third-year student, but has just come back from an international year abroad. So, Thomas, would you like to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, certainly. Yes. So I was studying right here. Well, just beyond here, actually, just the other side of that building. That building there is the Oregon State Capitol building. Oregon in the USA, and I was studying in a little liberal arts college. This is something we don't really have in the UK. I'd explain it to my American friends by saying, well, in Britain we just tend to study one subject until it kills us, ideally, but in the USA they do things a little differently. They do it much more in a liberal arts style. One can pick their interests sort of as they go along and form a specialism based on their interests and what they learn as they learn. And at Keele, it's very similar. However, there are some noticeable differences in that sort of the intention of a British degree is to give you this sort of sense of being to be an expert, to be a specialist, whereas in the USA they prefer to sort of develop a very well-rounded citizen. And Keele works out as being this really sort of inventive balance of the two styles in a way. Yeah. So yes, while I was in the USA, I studied. I used the opportunity to study some French again, and which I hadn't done since getting to university, and to take up business and management for the 2 semesters I was there, and that was incredibly exciting. Yeah, I learned an awful lot, and since then I've actually been awarded. I'm very pleased to say I've been awarded a grant from Keele's Enterprise Centre to start a business of my own, which is now what I'm doing this summer. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to for the past year. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thanks, Thomas. And Johnny. Johnny is unique just at the moment, being one of the students who's actually completed the liberal arts course, because it's a very new course here at Keele. It's only been in existence 3 years, so Johnny is one of the first graduates. But Johnny, if you could talk a little bit about your 3rd year experience, and perhaps tell us a bit about the Grand Challenges module and also the dissertation module that you've just been doing.
Yeah, sure. So in our 3rd year, I think you guys, prospective students watching it, for you guys doing the Grand Challenges, it'll be a compulsory module for you guys throughout the 1st year, 2nd year and 3rd year. But for us, the first cohort to have graduated, it only sort of, even though we were encouraged and we sort of had Grand Challenges as part of our learning throughout the whole 3 years, we only started doing it as a module in which we had assignments on in our 3rd year. And what the Grand Challenges lecture series are, it's basically we have a variety of different academics come in and basically talk about issues which are, considered grand challenges. One example was we had someone come in and talk about the UK food source, talking about where we get a lot of our food, whether it's from the UK, how much is from the UK and how much is from other countries, and how that affects our food security. We had one which I based a lot of my Grand Challenges, one of my essays on, which was a lecture by a guy called Tom McLeish, and he talked about the issue of creativity in the sciences, usually because sciences aren't seen as creative, and he was sort of talking about how we could sort of address this issue and how bringing in other academics in the science field who have actually demonstrated how the sciences can be seen as creative. And yeah, also, so in your 3rd year in liberal arts, you will have the opportunity of either doing a dissertation or a creative project. And I opted for a creative project. So I did a book, but with the creative project, you could do any sort of creative piece. You could make a short film, you could do a piece of art, anything that's any sort of piece of art, any sort of creative project that tries to in some way embody some of what you've learned throughout your whole degree. And then from that, you'll also be asked to do it was a 4,000 word reflection on that, sort of explaining how your creative project has tried to embody some of what you've learned in liberal arts and sort of brought all these ideas together. And yeah, so I did a short book, I haven't quite finished it yet, called A Trip to Polis. Polis is what is referred to in Plato's The Republic as what he refers to in his story as like the ideal state. And so I thought it'd be interesting to try and create what I sort of tried to get at first perceived to the reader as an ideal state at first, but as you progress and read through the book, you start to maybe have your doubts about whether it is sort of an ideal state, and in this state sort of embody some of what I've learned through some of my modules that I've done, ideas and concepts from those modules, in how the state operates and in the experiences that my protagonist has when he's in in this fictional state.
Right, thanks, Johnny. So just kind of open it up to everybody now. Just so, would you recommend the course to prospective students, and what is it about liberal arts at Keele that makes it distinctive and has been the valuable experience it has been for you? Johnny, as you're there at the moment.
Yeah, sure. I think as Emma touched upon as well at the start, is the variety, the wide array of different modules that you are able to choose from. I think if you're interested in a lot of different subjects, and especially you want to see how those link together, and you don't want to sharpen your horizons, you still want to keep them broad in what you're studying and learning, then I think yeah, liberal arts, I think especially at Keele, when I looked at different liberal arts courses and social sciences courses, liberal arts at Keele seems to offer the widest array of different subjects from which I could choose modules from.
Definitely.
Oh, sorry, go on, Tom.
Oh, my follow on. Yes. So just to follow on from that, Johnny. Yeah. So studying at an American liberal arts institution, very small. That's their selling point, right? Their selling point is they're extremely small, very small class sizes, very focused. Now, what I noticed was that actually class sizes at Keele's liberal arts aren't actually that much different. These American universities, and I visited several while I was there, will charge huge sums of money. You do not want to ask huge sums of money from their domestic students to study with very small class sizes and to study several disciplines at the same time. And really, Keele, as a larger institution that still manages to maintain quite small, very focused class sizes, has an awful lot of choice, huge amounts of choice. So yeah, the flexibility definitely stands out there, I think. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Thomas. Ellen, Emma?
Carrying on from what Thomas said with the small class sizes, I found that really nice this year in our core liberal arts groups where we had just our liberal arts students. It was because it's such a small group, we could discuss in class in the lecture of different topics, whereas in other lectures you can't do that when there's more students, because we can have group discussions and sort of like ping pong ideas between each other about what the lecture's about, which is really useful.
Right.
I think in addition, with the small class sizes, we all get to know each other really well, and I think that makes for like better discussion, because like at the first we were a bit awkward at each other, but now we all know each other so well, and yeah, I just think that's really helpful. And also the support from the lecturers is great, especially with choosing your different modules, because they don't ever be like, you can't do those modules, they don't work together, because it's what you want, it's what you're interested in, and that's what I like about the course.
That's great, that's brilliant. Thank you, everybody. Hopefully, talking to prospective students now, that gives you some idea of what the course is like at Keele, and the flexibility and the breadth of choice that there is. But also the thing that's come over in those last few comments is that it's a community. That you'll see here, we've got students from the first, second and third year students that have been abroad, but we're all part of one kind of liberal arts community, and I think there's a real sense, would you agree, that we kind of explore things together, and that's that kind of mutual exploration is one of the distinctive things about Keele. Yeah, final words?
No, definitely, I'd agree with that. And I think touching upon what you guys have just said, those small classroom discussions especially help with that. And I think you guys will find having grand challenges now a compulsory part of all your years, you'll be having those discussions a lot more frequently, because how they usually do the grand challenges is you have a grand challenges lecture, and then after it you'll have a discussion with liberal arts students and also natural sciences students as well. So you get a sort of another side of it, another perspective, a sort of more sciencey perspective on these issues. And it's great, those discussions I've found, because it's like a continuous back and forth discussion on the perspectives on the ideas presented, and yeah, how we can deal with these issues. which is helpful.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.